want to start my presentation with this picture. For those who don't know it, it is a photograph taken by Dorothea Lange in a camp of migrant farm workers in March 1936. This picture became an American symbol of the hunger, poverty, and hopelessness enduring during the Great Depression. The picture was widely recognized and published in different media outlets by them. However, the name and the story behind the woman in this picture was unknown until 1978, when Florence Owens Thompson claimed to be the woman portrayed, and despite the fame of her image, she claimed that she felt deceived and exploited by the photographer. Lange didn't ask her story. Lange told her that she will not sell or publish the picture. Still, she did, and the fact that Lange did not know what her story was made her use this woman as a symbol to stereotype migrant mothers. She was not a migrant. She was a full-blooded Native American, a leader, a strong woman. I start with this picture my presentation to reflect on our role as researchers and media scholars when we work with people and use their stories to represent them. Traditionally, we have witnessed how portrayals of migrants have been negative, denying their humanity and capacity to be someone else beyond their tragedy. My research topic is about that. It is about giving voice to migrant mothers, their stories, their challenges, and the ways they use digital tools to build their lives despite the challenges they go through as migrants. Scholars argue that migratory moves and media technologies that allow transnational communication have shaped our conception of love and romance. However, people that fall in love with someone from another country when deciding to move together have to go through bureaucratic procedures to be close to each other and social stigma. However, research has shown the positive influence of social capital in overcoming these challenges. But this story is not unique of interracial couples. Migrant mothers are also divided between worlds, trying to find their identity as mothers abroad while maintaining connections with their families back home. However, their use of new media is not limited to those connections. Instead, research has shown that migrant mothers seek online connections in Facebook groups with other mothers of their own ethnicity to share experiences and find support. Becoming a mother implies an emotional journey itself, and we create emotional attachments to places too. However, research has shown how the effects of socioeconomic status, language barriers, and being apart from their family can mark negatively migrant mother experiences abroad. From the literature review on this topic, I found out that research in migrant mothers and their digital placemaking practices is still in their infancy. Even though researchers have studied motherhood from different perspectives, the stories of Colombian migrants in Europe remains unexplored. Thus, the research question of my paper is how do Colombian migrants experience motherhood in Europe, and how do they use digital placemaking practices to overcome motherhood's challenges? This study will be conducted under the non-essentialist approach. It will think of place beyond the idea of loss of place and dive into the understanding of people's agency in reconstructing their lives after their migration move. The most appropriate method to study people's subjective experiences is in-depth interviews. Participants were recruited through a non-probability purposive sample in which the researcher determined a person's eligibility within certain criteria. Thematic analysis is being conducted and follows the phases of analysis outlined by Brown and Clark. The most interesting insights I presented in this slide. For time constraints, I will focus on the ones that are consistent with previous research. In the challenges as a migrant, briefly I mentioned two: lack of language proficiency and the influence of cultural background and maternal practices. Regarding digital placemaking, mothers seek for support in online groups with peers of their same ethnicity, and how new media has allowed the creation of communities where mothers create significant connections that help them to settle in the country. In conclusion, intersectional studies in the field of migrant mothers research is needed. As it is reflected in the literature review and in my current research, socioeconomic status and migration motives are significant in the experiences of migrant mothers. However, as previous research supports it, new media technologies allow mothers to seek social support and build their own network of connections in the new country, helping to a successful settlement. Even though we celebrate their agency, it is relevant to acknowledge that the lack of access and digital literacy is a constraint for digital placemaking practices.